Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply. This video is to bring you a closer look at the Keedex number K-BXES1. This is a weldable gate box is what it is, and is used primarily with the Trine 005 electric strike. Trine is a manufacturer of electric strikes and some accessory hardware like transmitters and receivers, push buttons, things of that nature. And you know, I think it's somewhat true that people associate the name Trine with economy grade strikes that you'll see in applications where a lot of money is not being spent on an electric strike, and that's very commonly in a multi unit condo building. You know, a 3-flat condo building, they've got a strike at the front door, intercom system, Trine, very, very often. But that's not an accurate correlation to make, because Trine has an exceptional caliber quality of heavy-duty grade 1 strikes. I like to use Trine strikes when I have a client who wants to use a strike in an exterior application, like at a gate. And a gate application is obviously one that's going to get wet. Trine has a weatherproof strike that I've used with total success in those applications. I've had clients install exit devices on gates. I've had clients install lock sets, slam style deadbolts. I use Trine strikes for all of those, and I've never had one fail. And I would not hesitate to suggest that you review their product line as well. So this strike is an interesting little doodad. It is just simply, it's, how many pieces are here? 1, 2, 3. I think there's only 4 pieces here. So they're going to shear some material, then they're going to, punch it or put it into a turret, a CNC turret, punch the preparation, fold the material over with like a press brake, and then simply spot weld it. That's what those dark spots are there. The think of the mandibles on a insect. Well, that's what a spot welder kind of looks like. Gets in there, and through the electrodes, they will throw electricity through there, heat that material up, bring it molten to a certain extent, and then fuse the 2 different pieces of steel together. And that's how this stuff's held together. A little bit of welding on the back side of here. This is nothing other than, steel. Weighs 1.03 pound. Includes this little filler piece that's here as well. And what's interesting about that is that's made of aluminum. And I happen to have a Trine strike here, so we can take a look and see exactly what that little filler piece is used for. So let's do so. Okay, now as we move in to talk about this K-BXES1 from Keedex, here it is. It includes this loose piece, and let's just talk about that loose piece real quick. This can be used with the with a ROFU model. First of all, a Trine 005. It can also be used with a ROFU. I was wondering where those models were listed. A ROFU 1106 and the EFF 11BS. The EFF I don't think you're going to bump into. That's a European strike. Not that I don't think you'll bump into it, but if you're in in a borough of New York, you're going to bump into the Trine 005, all the time, and a ROFU as well. But the European strikes, I don't think you'll bump into. This filler, according to the manufacturer, is used only when you are using the ROFU or the EFF. You absolutely don't need it at all for the Trine 005. You'll literally discard this. That Trine 005 is going to slide right into this space. I had mentioned earlier that I have a Trine 005, and I do. It just fits right inside of here, and there's no reason that I can think of to demonstrate that going in there. I know that this client has a Trine 005, so they will not be using that. You look at this and say, okay, what am I supposed to do with this? And you put it in there and, put your strike in and say, well, okay, that doesn't really help me. Then, it would be common or logical to stick it over here. That looks like it's nice. That could be of some help, I suppose, but then you put your strike in, and that doesn't work real well, and turns out, throw it in the garbage if you're using recycle it if you're using a Trine 005. So some dimensional properties. Let's go over that quickly here. I've got it at 3 3/4 wide. I'd say about 3.5 inch wide. What's the height? That's where that 3 3/4 might be coming into. So, you know, they've got 3 1/4 high. Now about 3 and 11/16. Probably about 3 9/16. With a 1 9/16 step, yeah, I'd say that would be accurate. 14 gauge steel. This is just typical cold rolled steel. It's going to have a little bit of oil on it because steel does have a little bit of oil on it when it comes in. You know, Keedex probably buys slit coil, or they probably buy just sheets of steel. You know, whatever gauge thickness, the type of steel, there will be no coating on it. But when you get this, you're going to weld it and you're going to have to clean that off. And the advantage of it not being galvanized or galvannealed is, you know, breathing in those welding fumes is never good. But when you're introducing other chemistry into the steel, like galvanneal, yeah, I'm sure that's classified as a carcinogenic. And the factory would certainly not want to have to add all kinds of additional labeling in their products and dealing with the fact that it's intended to be welded. And now we've got a situation where, you know, that very process is problematic in terms of health. Not that welding isn't problematic, but welding typical cold rolled steel is not the same as welding galvanized. You know, there will be some people that say, I'm not welding galvanized. Yeah, I get that. You have to have the right equipment to do that. Where are you going to use this gate box? Well, anywhere where you want to stick a Trine 005 or a ROFU 1106 or that EFF strike. And, you know, you might think, well, yeah, I can just make my own. You can. There's no doubt. Can you do it as inexpensively as just buying one? That's the hitch. And generally the answer is no way. Give me the proper professionally manufactured gate boxes. I know it's going to fit. All I got to do is tack weld it. I'll be done in 5 minutes, and I'm off to the races. So clearly a strike like this, a strike box like this is going to be used with a lock. You know, they might be welding this into the jam structure on a single gate. You're obviously going to have to drill a hole somewhere for your leads to come through, your wires for your strike. And that's going to be necessary to get that done. Now, let's switch to the screen view and take a look at the supporting documentation. Okay, so here's the item that we're looking at, and supporting documentation here is cut sheet and cross-reference and gatebox catalog. Let's take a look at the cut sheet. That's basically going to be a summary of, you know, what it is, its size. You know, our dimensions were a little bit off compared to this. The factory did say that they should really update their product catalog to indicate that filler is not used when you have the ROFU or the EFF. But nonetheless, we've discussed that at length. Now, there is the cross-reference guide, and the cross-reference guide is very handy because it's listed by, it's 9 pages that are listed by the lock manufacturer part number. So, you've got a Trine electric strike, and you do a find function for Trine, or Control F, Trine, and you've got an 005, and there's your part number that you need to copy, paste, put it back into the website, and you'll have your item right there. So that's a handy document for that. Let's say you're looking for a Schlage, you know, you get the concept, Schlage. You know, obviously Adams Wright, lots of Adams Wright. So this column is the item from the manufacturer, then the Keedex part number. If it's listed in other base materials, it will be indicated here, aluminum and stainless. There is some stainless. You know, you're doing locks that could very easily be installed in an exterior application. I was scrolling for alarm lock. Obviously, you know, they're DL2700WP. That's going to take that weatherproof version. You know, that's going to be available in a stainless steel and aluminum. So, very handy document. Followed up with the Gatebox catalog. Now, that's just going to allow you to see the manufacturer's original there we go, original document when it comes to their gate boxes. You know, they are I've really never bumped into a lock or a strike or a trim from an exit device or a mortise lock that they couldn't put a electric strike out there, a weldable gate box for you. People that make wrought iron gates, yeah, they want these. They're not making their own, even though they certainly could. It's just this is really elegantly kind of giving you an idea of what the concept is. Sure, that's going to brutalize the look of the gate, but your choices: have a lock or don't have a lock. You have to give that lock, what I'm driving at, is something to obviously install to. So this catalog will allow you to go through their gate boxes just for the sake of reviewing what's available. They make blank ones if you have to create your own. At least they'll get you started with a rectangular box. Okay. Now this unit is made of 14 gauge stainless. I probably mentioned that. The link to the manufacturer's page I'd like to point out to you. At that link you can see not only all of the Keedex products that we sell, but also a link to the manufacturer's website, as well as a link to the full product catalog. And that full product catalog is going to show a lot more than just weldable gate boxes. And if you know the name Keedex at all, you probably do for one of two things. Either their weldable gate boxes or their line of armored door loops. 1/4 inch and 3/8 flexible conduit that permits you to somewhat elegantly transfer low voltage from a frame to a door, from a header, from a wall to a door, whatever the case might be. That material is all in this catalog as well. And I'm going to scroll to that. There we go. Armored door loops. So they're going to have, what's nice about Keedex is they're going to have not only the one that you see all over the place right here, but they're going to have this covered style for the end caps as well. And then they're going to give it to you in probably a half a dozen finishes. Well, 7. Okay, 7 different color types. And if you just, I've sold, 300 feet of the material to a single client and 50 base plates because they're doing 60 doors or whatever the case might be. And they just want a spool of conduit and they're going to cut it themselves. And then you buy the connectors if you're going to use the covers, the rectangular covers, or you just use the end caps. Okay, you drill a small hole in the door and frame, that end cap's going to cover it, your conduit's going to sneak out and right down and through is what's going to happen. So they only have a couple of pages of this material, but there's not really much to it. Aluminum, stainless steel, base material, etc. Keedex also is a name synonymous with locksmithing tools and gate boxes. And gate boxes means installing lock sets or electrified hardware, which means armored door loops, which means tools for the integrator, the locksmith. And Keedex is a company that focuses on the locksmith trade with the type of tools and material that they put together. Installation aids, etc. If you have a gate and you have a gate where someone can reach in and reach around, well, they won't be able to when you screw or weld this 8-inch long tube over, you install the lock over this tube, and then you're not going to so easily reach in and grab your hand on that orbit or ball or polo or, global knob, whatever round knob your manufacturer calls it. It's not going to be so easy to get your hand in and back through and open up that gate is what those tubes are for. We sell those every once in a while. There's no doubt about that. If you're a locksmith and you're somewhat familiar with them, but maybe not having reviewed their catalog, I would certainly suggest that you do so. Very nice folks over at Keedex, very happy to assist. Their lead times are generally quite exceptional, in terms of getting stuff shipped out. They do a pretty good job. Let's wrap up this video on camera. Okay, as I said before, good quality company, Keedex is. If you've got a Trine 005 or the Rofu 1106 or even an EFF, that's their 11BS. This would be your gate box. Any questions on the Keedex K-BXES1 weldable gate box or any other Keedex product, please feel free to reach out to us. Thank you very much.